Farmstead. We are talking about elderberry today, and I have tincture that I'm making, and we're also going to be talking about elderflower and the differences between elderberry and elderflower. So right now, just going to kind of share what I'm doing right now while I'm waiting for some people to pop on here. But right now I am making the elderberry tincture, and I started with frozen elderberries. So where we get our elderberries from is from, actually my in-laws have this huge gorgeous patch of elderberries, of elder, and we harvest from them. They are not touching a farm. They're not touching any kind of place that is commercially sprayed. There is a farm that does touch a property, but there's such a buffer. There's a huge timber that completely blocks it, so they don't have any kind of overspray or any kind of danger for contaminating the berries. That is very, very important when you are harvesting berries. So I did not have the time to get to them right away. And actually, it's very, very easy to do this when they're frozen. So much easier. So what we do with that is I literally take the berries, stick them in a bag, and actually my mother-in-law did this for me. It's very nice of her. We put them in a bag, and here we go. Big old garbage bag, and when we're ready, we stick them in the freezer, and when we're ready to take them out, you just kind of bang them, which I already did, and they're starting to thaw, so I'm not going to do that. But you bang them, and the berries come off, and look, there's only 2 on that one, and it just comes off the stem. And I'm still checking because I don't want stems in my tincture, but it's way easier to get them off. You don't have to sit there and meticulously like pull every single berry off. So the berries that I'm looking for are the deep purple ones. You don't want the green ones. You don't want the light purple ones. You want the deep green, or the deep purple color. I almost said green. You want the deep purple color. And that is the one that is the most medicinally potent and safest. So elderberry does have a toxin in it, and it's not going to kill you, but it's going to make you have a bad day. So it's going to make your stomach very unhappy. So you want to make sure that you are preparing it correctly. So in tincture, because a lot of the things that you find about elderberry, you will hear them say it has to be boiled, has to be processed, or they have to be dried. However, when you are making tincture, this takes the place of that. So fresh herb, and you know, we've talked about this, in most herbs, you want fresh herb and with your alcohol that you're going to be using with your menstruum. So I will be using fresh herb, and this is how I do virtually all of my tinctures. I will do fresh herb. For elderberry, we're using half of this. Now, the reason it's already done is because I was just on Instagram and I was showing them an example and I ran out of time. So I'm going to top it off with the correct ratio while I'm here with you guys. So I'll put fresh herb to here halfway and then top off with liquor. Okay. You can use vodka. That's what I use. Or you can use gin, or you can use brandy. Just don't use Everclear or anything that's like 100% alcohol, because then all you're pulling out of the herb, first off, it's very harsh on your system. And you're talking about using herbal medicine to improve your wellness, not wreck it. So we don't want to be undoing the good. Doing a herbal tincture with 100% alcohol, first off, there's very few herbs that work with. I mean, very few. And I, in fact, don't ever use that. But it won't pull all of, hi guys, hi Paula, hi Robin. It won't pull all of the properties out. So if I'm using here, I use this all the time and I constantly forget what percentage it is. 40% alcohol, which means 40% alcohol, 60% water. So that means I'm pulling the alcohol soluble properties and the water soluble properties. That's what we want. We want a full, well-rounded medicine. So that's what we're doing. So very important to not just go full bore and just use Everclear. That is not good. And this is, in this kind of situation, less is definitely more. So growing elderberries, super simple. I had horrible luck with it this year for some odd reason. I don't know why. It just didn't want to work for me. And everything that I started that I propagated died. I don't know why. The stuff from the year before, totally fine. From this year, from this past spring, complete failure. I mean, it happens. It's farming. It happens, right? We all have failures. It's how we learn. So I didn't learn anything from it, except that it didn't work because I have no idea what went wrong. No clue. Never had that happen before. But if you want to propagate elderberry, totally doable. There are different kinds of elder, and you want to make sure you've got the type that is good for your area. That's why propagating is such a good idea, because you're getting it from your area. So you know it works there. You just have to worry about your specific soil, which elder is really, really forgiving. You can plop it just about anywhere and it'll go, okay, we're here. Let's do it. It's found in a lot of wasteland areas. You'll find it on the side of the road and ditches, which is where a lot... Oh, did you lose sound? Taylor, refresh. If you can hear me. Try and refresh your feed. Sometimes it just does that. And if anybody else, like if I get all weird, let me know in the comments. There might be a delay, but it'll come back. Or sometimes I have to reboot this stuff. But we should be okay internet-wise. Okay, what were we saying? It's often found on the side of the road, but you do not want to harvest that. I have autoimmune issues and RA and OA osteoarthritis. I really should not use elder, correct? Correct. Do not use them. And we are going to get to that. So give me just a second and I will answer that in great detail. So if you were harvesting on the side of the road, you were basically picking up all of the crap. You hear me. Awesome. Thank you, Robin. So Taylor, if you are still having a hard time, just refresh. Or get out and get back in. That could work too. Okay. Elder stains, so I probably should have chosen a different shirt instead of my brand new sweatshirt. Okay, so you definitely don't want to do the side of the road because that will lead you with basically contaminated, unsafe, not ideal herb. You don't want that. So if you do something that's like back a ways, not near a commercial farm or anywhere where anybody sprays anything, then you'd be good. And you would also be good with just purchasing dried. You can, I mean, it is ideal to make a tincture with fresh herb, but it is totally doable, perfectly fine to do it with dried. So you can do dehydrated. Oh, thanks, Robin. You can totally do it with dried, but it's just, with dried, there's no more water-soluble properties in there. It's just the alcohol-soluble properties in there. So you're not pulling everything. So like I said, it's just a more well-rounded medicine to do it that way. So, okay, so let's get on to who asked about that. Robin. Okay, so if you take elderberry, when you got back, good, I'm glad you're back, Taylor. If you take a elderberry, an immune boosting herb like elderberry or echinacea, when you have autoimmune disease, you are ramping up your symptoms of your autoimmune disease. So example, I always use myself. So I have ankylosing spondylitis, which is an inflammatory arthritis. So Robin, similar to you. And it affects predominantly my spine and related organs, my heart, my lungs. And it affects certain cytokines. So what a cytokine is, so we got kind of cytokines got a bad rap during COVID because they were saying, oh, cytokine storms, it gives you cytokines. I heard people saying, and I'm like, no, that's not what that is. So cytokines are the messengers of your immune system. They literally are the part of your immune system. I think I've dropped berries and I just don't want to step on them and make a massive mess here. Yes, I did. That's okay. That was for, I just don't want to track it with my shoes here. Okay. So the cytokines are like the micromanagers of the immune system. So if you have, a trauma injury, like if you cut your arm really bad, then your cytokines will say, hey, you go there, prevent infection, you go there, you go there. And your white blood cells are going to do their job to make sure you don't get an infection. If you have the flu or you have COVID, you have all of these cytokines that are saying, hey, we need to support the lungs and you need to go there, you need to go there, all these different cytokines. Okay, there's a lot of them and they all have different jobs. They all work in different parts of the body. For my disease specifically, and you too, Robin, with RA, with OA is not an autoimmune disease, so this does not pertain to that, but RA does. So cytokines IL-6, IL-8, and TNF-A, which is your tumor necrosis factor alpha, they will be the cytokines that are malfunctioning. They are responsible for things kind of going haywire and attacking your body, attacking your joints. Elderberry specifically works with IL-6 and IL-8, and it will tell them, go, 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 go. So it'll tell them, we need more, we need more. And it will significantly ramp up your disease, especially if you are taking more and more and more of it. You take it once, you're going to flare. You take it consistently, it's going to be bad. So don't do that. That's why we want to stay away from immune boosting properties in herbs. You want immune modulating properties in herbs instead. And immune modulating is like, here, this is where we live. We're right here. We don't spike, we don't drop. We like, if you go up, your cytokines say, or the immune modulating herbs bring it back down. They're like, nope, this is where you live. If you drop, they bring it up. This is where you live. They want to keep everything working correctly. That's what immune modulating herbs do. Astragalus is a really good immune modulating herbs. And then there's also herbs called adaptogens. And some adaptogens are also immune modulating. Tulsi is an adaptogen. That holy basil, that's the same thing. And they are really, really good for that. So I'm going to do a little bit more of this elderberry. If you guys have specific questions, don't hesitate. Go ahead and ask, because I'm just going to talk. I'm just going to talk about this elderberry while we are here. I was just over on Instagram sharing this information, and I will share some of the questions that I got over there. Somebody asked if this is safe for kids. 100% it is safe for kids. However, that is a choice that everybody has to make. The amount of alcohol that you get from a tincture is less than what you get from eating an apple. So, it is an extremely, I have an itch on my chin. It is an extremely small amount, and you do not have to worry about having too much alcohol in there. I give them to my kids. But again, that is a personal choice. You have to make that decision for yourself and decide what is right for your family. So you don't have to go just based off of what I say. So many questions. Hit me. Bring it on. Bring it on. If I don't know something, I will tell you I don't know something. But I will also refer you to, a resource that will have your answer. So, but yeah, give me the questions. And if you guys have a question other than elderberry, I will answer within reason. If we get like too crazy off the beaten path here, then we'll rein it in and maybe save that topic for another live. I am planning on doing this every Monday for the foreseeable future. So 7 o'clock Central Time. I will say my husband does have on-call hours. So if he is on call, like next Monday he's on call, and if he gets a call before my live, then I will probably have to cancel it. If he gets a call during my live, I may have to cut it short. So, but that's a possibility. But my plan is to be here because I think this is important. And I think rather than just watching the videos and hearing me ramble about one specific herbs or one specific herb, they can kind of feed you into another one. So if we're talking about viral stuff, like we just started talking about immune modulating herbs, and then we started talking about Tulsi and started talking about elderberry, and it can just lead you into so many other things. So if something, piques your interest, then it's good to ask the question while it's fresh in your brain, especially in a topic like herbalism, where it can be so overwhelming. You're like, okay, I have questions, but I don't even know where to start. This is what a live conversation is so great for. What has the best immune modulators? So that depends on the person, because like I could sit here and say astragalus, great, fabulous herb, but it depends on the person. I can't tell you exactly like this herb is the best, this is your go-to, because I don't know you personally. I don't know your medical history. I don't know, like, a person's constitution is a factor when, like, in clinical herbalism. So you want to look at, like, you look at the person's tongue and like the shape of their tongue, the consistency of their tongue. Don't know what to ask. Okay, that's totally fine. That's totally fine. So it really just depends on the person. And then honestly, there's a lot of things in herbalism that is trial and error. My trash compost bin is almost full. Oh, I remember from last week. Yes, that's awesome. So mine has not moved. my compost pile has not moved. But we're about to muck out two chicken coops actually. So I think we're just going to start a new one, and then I can use that stuff on the raspberry beds that I'm planting right now, because we're transplanting all the raspberries out to the farm so they're not taking over my house, because they do that. So anyway, it's Robin, a lot of that is trial and error. So a lot of that is you just have to see what works for you. If something doesn't sit well with you, then you try a different one. And I do have a video that is all about like my favorite herbal books. And there are a couple of them in there that are great for, like, it'll tell you the properties of the herbs. Almost all of them do that, but it's the Modern Herbal Dispensatory. I think I recommend that book more than anything else. It is a fabulous book, and it's a good place to start. By no means is it like every herb. There's really, when you talk about how many herbs there are, it is a very small amount of herbs, but it's very common herbs that, people are familiar with. I gotta grab a paper towel. That people are familiar with, and they're all like easy to get a hold of if you want to work with them. Robin, are you talking about back to the topic? Well, the thing I like about YouTube is it's like there's a great opportunity for community and things crossing over from other conversations. Like that was from last week. I'm totally fine with that. Back to the tongue. Okay. So back to the tongue. So like some people, like your tongue should be nice and pink. It shouldn't be tough. You shouldn't have ridges in your tongue on the side. And all of those things mean totally different things. And I am still learning all of them, because that is, oh no, that's totally fine. That's the problem with YouTube, is things get kind of messed up in translation when it's like text to talking here. So totally fine. So the tongue stuff, like there's so many different things. I would have to do I want to get more comfortable with that first before I would, teach on it. But there is a lot of information that I'm still learning. And it's like, it puts you into basically three different categories. And some things cross over. So there's a lot of information there. But they say that the tongue, especially in Chinese medicine, it's big. The tongue tells a lot about the person and like their personality, and are they the type of personality that is going to stick with an herbal regimen? Are they going to fight against it a little more? Are they going to be a little more stubborn? Like, these are all things that they say you can tell by the tongue. And it gives you kind of clues. And then that, along with just sitting and having a conversation with the person, gives you a lot of information about them, and whether or not you can give them a tincture, or if you think a tea would work for them better, or if they're going to take the time to do a decoction, or if a tincture is better because it's quick. It's like, here you go, just take it and go. Move on with your day. Can you take elderberry if you have osteoarthritis? Yes, Mary, you can, because osteoarthritis is not an autoimmune disease. If they tell you though, going to a rheumatologist for multiple years now, I will say, I've lost my sleeve. I will say that they have told me that I have osteoarthritis before I got my AS diagnosis. And they said, oh, you have osteoarthritis. You just also have a lot of inflammation. So if you are getting your blood work done and you're seeing that your inflammatory markers are elevated, just be cautious there. If you have inflammation all the time, if it's showing on your blood work, and like mine doesn't even show on my blood work. I'm what they call seronegative, which is I have to be diagnosed and treated based on my symptoms. I'm super complicated. It's fun. It makes it very, very difficult. Okay, I thought I was putting green berries in there for a minute. It's also the problem with talking while you're making medicine. You got to be absolutely sure you're doing this right here. So just be absolutely sure, and study your own blood work. Always get copies of things and make sure that if there's any questions, you question it, because you're supposed to. You hired them. So elderberry, elderberry is great if you're wanting to take it every once in a while as an antiviral. If you get exposed to something, or if you're fighting against something, it's a great option. That's what it's there for. But I strongly suggest to anybody that I work with that they not take it as a preventative all throughout a season, because that keeps your body in like a heightened state. Like, your immune system is always elevated. It's always being ramped up to do what it's not meant to do. If your immune system is already ramped up because of autoimmune disease, or anything else you're fighting, you could, if you have a bacterial infection and you're taking elderberry, you're still ramping up your immune system. And that's not necessarily a good thing if you're still fighting something else. It puts more stress on the body. It's not always a good thing. A lot of people's responses to I'm sick a lot is to, let's build the immune system. That's not necessarily the best option. Sometimes, like I said, immune modulating. Sometimes it's just supportive herbs that you want. Now, if you're having, like with my kids, if they're having like, if they have like, I don't know, let's see, strep, and then they have, I know. I'll use somebody else as an example. If they have strep, and then they have hand, foot, and mouth, and then they have another viral infection, yeah, go ahead and ramp up your immune system. You need a little help to get over it. But if you're constantly fighting like something that you're not getting over, you're having a hard time, but it's not necessarily viral, you don't want that. Like hand, foot, and mouth, that's viral. So you can get help getting over that, strengthening your immune system. I know you were talking elder, yeah. But may I ask about what goldenrod tincture is good for real quick? Absolutely. goldenrod is like my favorite this time of year. Goldenrod is good for so many things. It is really, really good for the whole excretory system. So it helps, it has a diuretic property, which means it helps pull water from places it doesn't belong. So if you have swelling in places, as long as it's not related to kidney disease. If you have kidney disease, you stay away from goldenrod because of that same property, because it pulls things through your kidney. And if it's pulling more fluid through your kidney because it's stuck in other places of your body and you're having swelling and you're retaining water, and if it's due to your kidneys, you can cause major issues. It's kind of the way elderberry, you don't take it when you have autoimmune disease. You don't take goldenrod if you have kidney disease. Because if you do that, you're ramping up your kidney disease, and that can be very, very dangerous. But other things goldenrod good for, excellent for allergies, excellent. It is really, really good for ragweed allergy. I've done several videos on that. Blood work is great. There's nothing wrong with you. Yeah, tell me about it, Taylor. Your blood work's fine. There's nothing wrong with you. So yeah, we'll talk about that in just a second, and the right kind of doctor to go to when you have dumb doctors say that. But it's really good for ragweed allergies. The videos that I've talked about I've posted have talked a lot about goldenrod being often in nature, like your solution grows right next to your problem. So if you are allergic to ragweed, goldenrod is your solution. It helps block the histamine response to ragweed. And it's also really good for cat allergies, really good for hay fever. So you got spring allergies, indoor allergies, pet allergies, specifically cat. It doesn't do much for dog allergies in my experience and that I've read. So we do have cats, and I'm fairly certain I'm allergic to cats. I know I'm allergic to cats with a white undercoat. I might be allergic to cats, and my pulmonologist is going to be extremely angry at me if my allergy test results say I am allergic to cats and I don't get rid of my cats. So, you know, they're my cats and I'm keeping them. He's just going to have to deal with it. But goldenrod is great for that. Oh, I totally did not answer the excretory thing. Okay, so it's not only good, not just good for pulling fluid, but it is also really good for pushing kidney stones through. So another lovely side effect is, can it be used as a med for dogs? I do not know the answer to that. But hang on a second. So if you are prone to kidney stones, kidney infections, bladder stones, UTIs, any issues with your ureter, part of the diuretic effect of goldenrod helps pull it through, and it like so much fluid is going through, so you will end up peeing a lot more, and it is going to help like expand, open things so things can flush through. Now, part of my favorite thing is kidney stones are an issue for you, and I just like to put this out there because kidney stones are absolutely hell. The best combination I have found for myself is gravel root, stone root, corn silk, nettle, because it's anti-inflammatory, and goldenrod. Those 5 together, that's like my kidney stone blend. So if I think I might be getting a kidney stone, I immediately start that. Immediately. And then stay insanely hydrated, like super, super, super hydrated. Like I drink 40, 80, 120 ounces of water a day when I am doing that, just to flush everything. For animals, I have minimal experience with herbs with animals. It's not something that I've ventured into. I know herbs for chickens. I know oregano is a fabulous dewormer, like parasitic, like helps with that with chickens. So we put oregano in there. I don't know specifically about goldenrod and dogs. And I know I said I would be able to give you a resource, but when it comes to animals, I have no resources because I have not done the work on that. And the couple things that I have looked up has been incredibly difficult to get a straight answer. And I wish I could say like, ask your vet, but it's a lot like, ask your doctor. Your doctor does know herbalism. And I have yet to see a vet that does either. I'm not saying they're not out there. I'm just saying in my experience, I have not found them. So there's that. I'm going to put a pause on the elderberry because I will be here for the rest of my natural life doing this. So we're going to put a pause on this. I'm going to stick this back in the freezer so we don't have elderberry mush. And then we are going to change gears and talk about elderflower. Let me just clean this up real quick because I don't want this to go ahead and get all mixed together. So while I'm doing this, so you're not just watching me clean, I have an elderflower tincture that has been going for a while now. It sits for 6 weeks because it's aerial parts, and aerial parts are tinctured for 6 weeks. Some people do it 4. I like to do it 6 for just the sake of having a good, potent, well-rounded medicine. And that's just my personal preference. Every herbalist will give you a different answer. Approaches. Okay. Okay. And I keep stepping in them. Okay. All right. So this one, I did not bring my tincture bottles. Man, I'm on a roll tonight. I am not at my house. I am at my parents' house because there's no children here and it's quieter and you can actually hear me instead of a lot of yelling. All right. So here is elderflower. Same plant. Elder produces elderflower and then it turns into elderberry. So elderflower has a lot of the same properties as elderberry, but elderflower doesn't go so haywire on the immune system. So and this is a personal choice, I will use elderflower in moderation. If I am having a day where my allergies are going absolutely nuts, I will have a cup of seasonal support tea because it's still got the same properties. I do not have multiple cups and I don't have it for multiple days. 1 cup and in conjunction with my goldenrod nettle tincture, which is what I use for my allergies. Aerial part. Okay, an aerial part is anything that grows above the ground. So this is the flower, so this counts as an aerial part. Leaf, some of the branches would also be considered aerial parts. So that is an aerial part. And then anything underneath the ground, that's your root, things like that, that's a totally different thing. So aerial parts, because they're light and they're not dense, they're not woody. Well, stems would be, but you're talking about like small, thin stems that are, you know, real flexible, not hard, dense, thick, super stiff, rigid stuff. That needs to be tinctured considerably longer. But with something like elderflower, which if you've seen elderflower, they're super dainty. I don't know if you can see. Oh yeah, you can. Okay, they're really dainty flowers. They're super, super fragile. So really 4 weeks would be enough for this one. I did 6. So who this is for somebody that had cancer and they, as a result, they didn't go through chemo or radiation or anything like that. I'm going to itch my eye and hopefully I don't get elderberry stain all over my eye. Hopefully this will help them because, okay, they went through, they just went through like excision and they had no chemo, no radiation, but had immune therapy infusions. Now, one of the side effects of this specific medication that they used, they were getting, is that it makes you stop sweating. So that can be very dangerous, especially in an older person, where, you know, the possibility of overheating, heat exhaustion, heat stroke is way, way bigger of a concern than it is in a younger person. So we talked about trying elderflower as a way to kind of kickstart that. Hopefully it would help them be able to start sweating again. So I am going to get a spoon. I would really like a plastic spoon, but I don't think, oh, here we go. Does she have one? Doesn't work. I use plastic spoon just because. Oh my goodness. Okay, so with tinctures, you don't have to. Oh, I love the smell. So in a finished tincture, there's a lot of herbs, especially really fragrant herbs. And if you've ever smelled elderflower, like in a field, it's amazing. It's so sweet. Like the air is just so sweet. Chamomile is another one. It smells amazing in it. It's like you smell the herb mostly, but you also smell just a hint of like sharpness from the alcohol. Yeah. So we are gonna go ahead. Let me see if I can back up so you can see what I'm doing a little better. Hopefully you can. I am just pouring this into my little sieve here, getting out all of the properties. Now, I forgot my gloves, so I am not going to squeeze this out. I left my house kind of in a hurry. I am just going to push this through and try and get all of this out. Okay. And then if you get like plant parts in here, it's not going to hurt you. I mean, that's what you're taking. You're taking the properties from the plant. So if you get a little bit of plant matter here and there, it's totally fine. Now, when your tincture is strained and you're putting it back into your storage bottles, you are going to have like some sediment at the bottom. That's good. That's a good thing. That's your medicine. Shake it up before you use it. That's normal. It's totally and completely normal. Okay, I think that's good. And I don't compost this just because it's filled with alcohol. If you want to, you can always double strain. That's totally fine. I am going to go ahead and put this into my clean half-gallon jar because I wanted to get my elderberry done and get the second one done, but that's not going to happen tonight. There's just not enough time. So in a tea, elderflower is absolutely delicious. In my recipe book, if you haven't gotten that yet, you're interested, you can snag that on my website. It is a $37 book. I kept the price down. And it is absolutely packed with great recipes. It has, get a chair here, have a seat. It is, let's see, 50 recipes. There's 10 tincture recipes, 10 tea recipes, 10 salve recipes, 10 oxymel recipes. What am I forgetting? Oxymels, tinctures, salves, teas, and 10 of something else that I cannot for the life of me think of what it is. But there's a lot of good tincture recipes. Look at the color on that. Looks like apple cider, doesn't it? So I'm going to go ahead and give this to the person that is going to need it. And you can put this, I don't know if I've said, but you can put this in your tea if you want to add it to your tea. You can totally do that. It is a really good way to get tinctures in if you are more of a tea person, but you want a more concentrated medicine. So tinctures are definitely more concentrated than tea. So you can add this to that. Like I said, I did mention, because I take my goldenrod nettle tincture for allergies along with a seasonal support tea blend. And that blend is in my book. So if you wanted to make that, it has orange peel in it, and it just makes it a really, really nice, flavorful tea. So, okay, that's what I was going to comment on. So Taylor said, your blood work is great. There's nothing wrong with you. Grr, yes. So if you have a doctor that is telling you there's nothing wrong with you, or all your blood work is fine, so let's wait and see, that should be something you run from, because that is a doctor that's not listening to you. So you need a doctor that is going to hear what you are saying. And if they tell you your blood work is normal, so you're okay, then your next words need to be like, so what's the next step? Because waiting and seeing is not acceptable. If you can't live your life normally, and you can't live, move on with your life, and you're not healing, then you need to find another doctor that is going to listen to you. And you do that as many times as it takes until you find the right one. I went through so many doctors, and it took me 7 years to get diagnosed, but it was totally worth it. So, Robin wants to know the dose. Elderflower tincture starts at 1 milliliter. I think it goes up to 4. 1 milliliter up to 3 times a day, I believe. I have to double check that, but I'm pretty sure that that's what it is. And I will actually, what I'll do is I will put that down in the show notes, and I'm going to write it down, because if I don't write it down, I won't remember it. So we're going to write that down. We are going to do, okay, elderflower dose. Elderflower tincture dose. Excuse me. In show notes. I will do that this evening. It seems like even if the doctor wants to help, the insurance companies fight us. Okay. That is a whole other thing. You are 100% right, because they don't know. Sorry about that. I got a phone call. You are 100% right. So the insurance companies don't understand medicine. The insurance companies are a business. They are in business to make money. They think that there should be steps and procedures to every single thing you do. Like, okay, perfect example, my asthma is flared with my AS. Part of what it affects is my lungs, and it's inflammatory asthma. So I have gone up the chain of all the different maintenance inhalers that I take. So right now I'm on a medication called Brio elliptia or something like that. So it is a once a day inhaler. It works better than what I was on last time, but it doesn't 100% do what it needs to do for me. So the next step is something called Trelegy, which is a triple medicated inhaler. There's 3 different things to it. There's a steroid, there's a long-term inhaler, and then there's something else in it. I can't remember. But it's even stronger, and it's even more expensive. Do they give me a hard time about my $8,000 Humira that I get every single month? No, they do not. Or every 2 weeks. No, every month. Every month I get that. They don't say a thing. They don't tell me no. But they do tell me no about the inhaler, because that is one of the medications that is, like, for asthma. It's so expensive that they want you to try a whole bunch of other things before they go there. So right now we're in the process of appealing it, and we're in the process of fighting it, which you have to know how to do. You have to know that in your doctor's office, there's supposed to be a nurse advocate. And if you are not automatically given a nurse advocate to petition your insurance company and to fight your insurance company on your behalf, you need to specifically ask for a nurse advocate. That is your person that is going to get on the phone and say, hey, this person needs to have this medication These other medications will not help them. This is why. They've tried this at this day. This is not indicated for them to try this. They have an allergy, so they can't try this. They're your person that is supposed to help you. Your way is the way to go, I think. Thanks for your knowledge. Oh, you are absolutely welcome. I feel like I'm not practicing medicine anymore. Practice medicine without a degree. That's my dad says. That's why they call it practicing medicine, because they can never seem to get it right. I am not anti-Western medicine. I am not anti-allopathy at all. It has its place. And if I have anything emergent going on, you bet your butt I'm going to the hospital, and I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to go, oh, maybe I should try some herbs first. No, if I am short of breath to a point where my nebulizer, my pharmaceutical nebulizer is not working, I am in the ER. See ya. I don't mess around. But when I get there, they don't know what they're doing with me because I'm complex. So my asthma is, like I said, inflammatory. So my pulse ox, my oxygen saturation, when they put the little thing on my finger and it tells them what percentage my oxygen is always 98 to 100 by the time I get in there, because I've been hyperventilating for a while. I'm hyperventilating because I can't get air to the lower parts of my lungs. I can't get air to the lower parts of my lungs because I'm too inflamed. So I need Solu-Medrol. I need an IV medication that's going to lower the inflammation, that's going to open up the bottom parts of my lungs so I can exchange oxygen correctly. And I have to explain that while I am short of breath, because they don't understand chronic illness. The emergency room is the worst place for someone with chronic illness, but it's also very necessary. Yeah. So anyway, yes, I am not anti-allopathy. It is incredibly good, and it is an incredibly necessary thing. And I really think allopathy is a blessing, an absolute blessing. But allopathy and homeopathy, they need to work together, and that's where it's hard to do that. So the best person for you to find, is a functional medicine doctor. They're really hard to find. I need to get some water. They are really hard to find because they are not so widespread. Like they're not everywhere. Let's see. They're really, really kind of scarce. I mean, if you're in an urban area, they're probably a little easier to find. Oh, that's better. Okay. They're probably a little easier to find if you're in an urban area. Here, we're in the sticks. I mean, we are out there in the sticks. There's one stoplight in our entire county. We're in the sticks. But if I want to go see a functional medicine doctor, I have to travel like at least an hour and a half to go find one. I think that's the closest, is an hour and a half away from us in either direction, north or south. West is just farther, middle of nowhere. And east, there's more. So north, south, or east. that's where we got to go for functional medicine. But you work very closely with functional medicine doctors. So it's like multiple trips going there, and it's a journey. Like it takes time, because they want to see all of your blood work, and they want to see all of your scans and hear, like, food journals and all of your symptom journals and all of that stuff. And then they take all of that information and they look at it as a whole, and they go, okay, well, here's your blood work, and look, like Taylor said, your labs are fine. You're good. You don't need me. You're fine. Just go home. Just get some rest. You have anxiety. Let me write you a prescription for that. But your functional medicine doctor will take all of that stuff and will compare it. They'll say, oh, your sodium is high. It's not alarmingly high, but when you compare that to this lab over here, you get this. So that's what functional medicine doctors do. That's why they're so good, because they don't look at one thing. They look at the whole picture. They look at the whole person, all of your symptoms, what you look like physically. Remember that tongue thing I was talking about? Now, not to say all functional medicine doctors are going to do that, but a lot of them will. And they'll be more well-versed in different types of medicine and different types of practices. and they will be able to serve you better. So I would love to be able to go to one, because I think there's so much about me that has just kind of fallen through the cracks. And because of my medical experience and my knowledge there, I can self-diagnose accurately, and I can do things for myself. But I don't have an MRI. I can't see into my body. So there is a lot with autoimmune disease. That's important. That's very important. Like, I had no idea that my liver enzymes were going up because I didn't have any symptoms, but they were. So when I found that out, they're like, oh, it's okay because it's not that high. You're fine. No, dear. No, my friend. This is when you start doing something so that it doesn't get higher. So I started myself on milk thistle. So I'm interested to see how, and I changed some things in my diet. So I'm interested to see how I'm going to be the next time I have blood work, which is going to be in 2 more months. Finding that doc is hard. Yeah, it is so hard. And it's heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking. You feel so alone, and you feel so alone and so just lost in it. Like, this is going to be life forever. And it's really, really hard to be in that space because you don't see a way out of it. You think that this is permanent, and it's not. It's really not. Nobody can tell you that when you're in it. Alternative medicine here in Michigan is expensive. It is in Illinois too. You are not alone there. It is very expensive here in Illinois too. Paula, unfortunately, Medicare limits me. It limits me too. My insurance limits me too. And we might be changing insurance within the next year, which is really scary because the next insurance is like insanely expensive. But like, need another income kind of expensive. But it also allows us to be able to go to the functional medicine doctors and things like that. Did you know, Paula, that in Illinois, because I know you're in Illinois, that you can actually go into an office and request that they accept a medication or an insurance. So there is a form that they can fill out that they can take Medicare. Milk thistle. Milk thistle is, I did put out a YouTube video, I think it was my last video, all about milk thistle. In the making 10 herbal medicine video that I did, I showed how to make it. And then in the last video, I'm pretty sure it was the last video, then that one talks all about milk thistle. But the short version is, it's a hepatoprotectant, which means it protects your liver, and it helps prevent certain like buildup of toxins, and it like stimulates the production and the flow of bile, which is what you need to get your liver and your gallbladder moving. I don't have a gallbladder anymore because I didn't know better back then, but it helps like push everything through, which is even more important when you don't have a gallbladder, because your gallbladder is, part of that whole system for things to flow correctly and to store it when it doesn't need to be used and to push it through when it needs to be used. Instead of, now when you don't have a gallbladder, your liver just kind of like dumps it out. So that's why you have to be careful with your diet when you have gallbladder surgery and you have your gallbladder removed. I never had issues with it afterwards, but sometimes I can definitely feel kind of like sluggish in this area. I think one of the good things about having chronic illness is you become very in tune with your body. You are aware of what is happening where. Like, I can tell you that, oh, my liver is sluggish. I can feel that. Or I can tell, like, oh, I think I may be in the early signs of getting a kidney stone. I can tell because I know my body really, really well. And it's kind of like a sad process to have to go through to get to that point, but also it's good because you can catch things early. So you didn't know that. Yeah. It's kind of hard to find a doctor that will do that still, but it is a possible thing. They can definitely do that. You just have to find somebody that's willing. And I found out about that because there was a chiropractor here that I wanted to go to. He wasn't just a chiropractor, like he did muscle testing, and he worked and did more of he was more of like a functional medicine chiropractor. And I know there's a term for him, but I can't remember what it is right now. But I really wanted to go to him, but he didn't take our insurance and he was way too expensive. So I didn't go through the process because I realized a lot of what he was doing was pushing products. And I'm like, no, I don't want to do that. I grow that. I don't need your herbs because I grow them and my herbs are better quality than your herbs. So yeah, there's that. Well, it is 8 o'clock. That went by really fast. That was a fast hour. Do you guys have any other questions that I can answer for you now? Or are we pretty much done for this evening? Well, I guess we have 5 more minutes. So it's been 55 minutes. I got 5 more minutes. Not like I have anything else to do. My husband's watching the kids. We're good. He's got them tonight. I will let you guys know. I am coming out with a new course. So I have the herbal gut course out. That is a course, it's a self-paced course. It's mostly video, but there's a lot of printables in it too. And it talks about the gut, how it's supposed to work. I made it very easy to follow, a lot like the way I teach, just like, here's the information. Is your doctor in Northern Indiana? No, it's Northern Illinois. It's Northwest Illinois is where we're at. What was I gonna say? My brain just went. Okay, gut course. Gut course is like, I make it there's a lot of information, but I make it simple to follow. And you can pause it. You can like have access to it for the life of it, which I have no intention of ever taking it down. So it's there and you can print out all the information on it. And once you start it, it's just very simple. You can pause it, and when you sign back in, it'll pick it right back up where you left off. There's recipes in there. There's all sorts of things that you can do, and it walks you through using herbs, and it talks about wellness protocols and like changing your diet with certain things, and some warning signs, warnings, contraindications for things. Talks about how to make the medicines, all of these different herbs. It doesn't go over every single gut herb, but it goes through all the major ones and some of the not as popular ones that you may not have heard a whole lot about, and talks about how they all work together. There's so much information on it, and it's great because all of this herbal stuff is fabulous, but it all starts in your gut, especially if you have an autoimmune disease. If you're debating to unlock his thumbs up, do them. Oh yeah. Okay. All right. Sorry. I'm getting texts. So if you're interested in that, definitely check out the gut course. I will tell you, it is going to be going on sale here very, very soon. So is my herbal book, my 50 herbal remedies books. So keep an eye out for that. I will put the link down in the description box also. So if you just want to check out the website, there's also a ton of free resources in there. Like I have 8 free ebooks in there that you can download, and they're all surrounding the body. So you can check those out too. You just got to plug in your email and the book goes straight to your email. So you have access to it. You can print it out or you can just use it on your computer. Doesn't matter. And it should be all friendly for your phone, for your iPad, for, for a tablet, or for your computer. I think I'm starting to lose my voice. So definitely check out the website. There's tons of information there, and I'm putting lots of new stuff up weekly. And then, so the reason I mentioned the gut course now is because that is the best base of what you can do for yourself. So all of this herbal stuff that I talk about, it's still going to be helpful for you, absolutely, but it all starts with your gut. And I know people hear that all the time, but it's because it's true. So you definitely want to make sure your gut is in check, and that's various things for various people. That's going to change for you depending on what your situation is and what you respond to. But it's always a good place to start. But if it's not something you're interested in and you have a different part of your body that you're struggling with, that you want help with, that you want to learn more about, definitely go subscribe to the website, because I am putting out courses per system. So the whole thing is like the herbal body, right? So we started with the herbal gut, and the one that I'm coming out with in November is the herbal lung. So because I'm doing that one next, because we're coming into cold flu / COVID season. So this is the time to really get familiar with the herbs that are going to work well with your respiratory system. So that one is a significantly smaller course. It's a cheaper course, but it's no less information. Like, it's still packed with all the great information, and it's still going to have all of the same parts, the videos, the printables, the recipes. Where is my foot going? So yeah, definitely check that out. And I also have some fun, exciting things coming, which I cannot mention yet, but they're really exciting. Like, I've been super excited and like hyper focused on it, and just really, really just having a great time with it today. So I'm excited to share it with you guys. Big thank you. You are very welcome. Thank you for everything. Always time well spent. I really appreciate you. I appreciate you guys too. Like, I can't teach anybody if there's nobody here to listen. So thank you very much, guys. I am going to go ahead and sign off here now, because we've gone over the hour. Thank you so much for coming and asking me questions. I think next week, my husband has on-call hours. So if he is, I know he's on call next Monday. If he gets called out, did I already mention this? I don't even know. This is the downside of doing Instagram and YouTube in the same night, because then I can't remember what I said on what platform. So if he gets called out before my live, I will have to cancel this. If he gets called out during it, I may have to cut it short, but he may not get called at all. And we can still do this. We can still get together here and chat. I'm thinking next week of doing herbs about the lungs and working on some things with that. I always have things to make. I could definitely make some more Elecampane tincture. Maybe we'll do some tincture blends. I'll have to see what we still have, because we're stocking the store. Oh, I did mention last week that, again, I can't remember if I mentioned this here or if I just mentioned it on Instagram. I mentioned last week that we were going to be opening the store and that everything was going to be available there. I did not get it all up yet. So I'm still working on it. Just, I've been very busy with the end of like harvest and stuff. You guys, you know, you homestead, you farm, you know, if you garden, you get it. That it is really busy this time of year, getting everything put to bed and getting everything harvested and preserved and all of that. So I have not had enough time to sit down and get it done, but I am working on it, and hopefully it'll be up very, very soon. And I'll have tinctures, teas available, and bulk herbs, a few bulk herbs available. And yeah, that's it. That's all the business of it. So I hope you guys have a great night, and we'll see you later.